不是远大。
大的，滚来滚来的了。
我烧成这个样子，要不要下楼啊？
Beijing, a city where thousands of years of history intertwine with some of the world's most modern skyscrapers, has been struck by a devastating catastrophe. A massive fire erupted without warning, spreading at terrifying speed, engulfing residential neighborhoods, commercial centers, and even the forests that surround the capital. From a single spark, the flames quickly transformed into a blazing storm, an unstoppable wave of destruction. Its light illuminated the entire horizon, plunging the city into chaos never seen before. From a distance, the scene resembled the apocalypse. Thick smoke rolled across the sky, swallowing the sun and turning the heavens into a heavy blanket of ash. Columns of fire rose higher than rooftops, their glow visible from miles away. Sirens wailed without pause, merging with the roar of the blaze, drowning out every other sound in the city. Residents described the moment the fire swept into their neighborhoods. Families awoke to the choking smell of smoke and the pounding of fists on their doors. Some rushed barefoot into the streets, carrying children, pets, or only a single bag of belongings. Others were trapped in high-rise apartments, waving desperately from balconies until firefighters arrived with ladders. On the roads below, horns blared as thousands of vehicles jammed together in a frantic race to flee the advancing inferno. Hospitals across Beijing were quickly overwhelmed. Doctors and nurses worked without rest, treating victims with severe burns, smoke inhalation, and injuries from collapsing structures. In narrow hallways, urgent voices and cries of grief echoed endlessly. Outside, anxious crowds gathered, waiting desperately for news of their loved ones. Mothers screamed the names of their children. Elderly men sat in silence, clutching the hands of their relatives, staring into the dense smoke still hanging above the city. The fire itself seemed to possess a terrifying intelligence. Fueled by dry air and driven by strong winds, it leapt from one rooftop to another in seconds. Apartment blocks burned from the inside out, their stairwells transformed into deadly funnels of smoke. Warehouses erupted into fireballs as combustible materials exploded within. On the city's outskirts, dry brush ignited instantly, merging with the urban blaze to form a firestorm of unimaginable scale. Above, helicopters circled relentlessly, releasing torrents of water. Yet every time the flames were beaten back, they rose again with equal fury. Authorities mobilized every available resource. Thousands of firefighters from neighboring provinces rushed to Beijing, joining exhausted local crews who had already battled for hours without pause. The military cleared roads, enforced evacuations, and even fought side by side with emergency teams. Volunteers distributed masks, water, and blankets at makeshift shelters in schools and sports arenas.
快看哟，快看哟，这下面流一堆这个哟，燃喽，不得了哦，你看哟。
Despite this enormous effort, much of Beijing's skyline was reduced to blackened silhouettes. When dawn broke after the first night of chaos, the scale of destruction became clear. Entire blocks lay in ruins, their windows shattered, their walls collapsed. Cars were reduced to twisted shells of metal. Streets were blanketed in a layer of ash, falling like cold gray snow. Forests that once brought calm and green life now stood as charred wastelands. Environmental experts warned that the consequences for air quality and public health would linger long after the flames were gone.
消防员在这碰上的，哎呀，我操！
And yet, amid the devastation, stories of courage and resilience emerged. A man carried his elderly neighbor down 10 smoke-filled flights of stairs. A group of students formed a human chain, passing buckets of water to trapped residents. Firefighters emerged from collapsed stairwells carrying children in their arms. Temples, churches, and schools opened their doors to shelter the displaced, transforming into safe havens. The cause of the fire remains unknown. Investigators search the wreckage for answers. Was it a failure of infrastructure, an accident, or something more mysterious? The truth is still unclear, but for now, the city's priority remains saving lives and rebuilding what has been lost. This tragedy is a reminder that modern life, no matter how brilliant or fortified, can collapse in an instant before the forces of nature and disaster. But even in the darkest night, the strength and unity of people shine brightest. And though the city lies cloaked in ashes, hope rises once more from the fiercest of flames. On July 20th, 2025, Typhoon Waifa struck Hong Kong, bringing widespread devastation. By morning, the city had issued the highest-level storm warning, signal number 10. The storm's center passed about 50 kilometers south of Hong Kong, with wind gusts reaching up to 167 km/h. In some areas, sustained winds were recorded at 140 km/h. Within just 3 hours, more than 110 millimeters of rainfall poured over northern districts, exacerbating the situation. Signal number 10 remained in effect for nearly 7 hours before being downgraded to signal number 8 and later to number 3 by evening. The typhoon caused significant damage across the city. It uprooted 471 trees and triggered over 450 reports of fallen trees. The hospitals treated 26 injured individuals, and more than 250 people sought shelter in emergency facilities. Power outages affected several districts due to downed power lines, and public transportation came to a halt, causing major disruptions. Around 400 flights were canceled or delayed, impacting nearly 80,000 passengers. Cathay Pacific suspended all flights from 5 a.m. to 6 p.m. and refunded tickets. Ferry and bus services were halted until conditions improved, and the MTR subway system faced delays. Hong Kong Disneyland and other attractions were shut for the day, and all schools were closed. In North Point, scaffolding was blown down by the fierce winds, while in Tsim Sha Tsui, street signs and canopies were ripped off by the storm. Streets were blocked by debris in various districts, and low-lying areas saw basement flooding. Drivers had to take detours due to fallen trees, while cleanup teams began working even before the storm fully passed. Some neighborhoods reported electrical fires due to short circuits, which firefighters quickly extinguished. Government shelters prioritized elderly citizens and families with children, while tourists became stranded at hotels and airports. The mobile phone network temporarily lost power, and location services were disrupted during the peak of the storm. Victoria Harbor's promenade was closed to the public, and despite police warnings, many bloggers and photographers attempted to capture the storm. The police urged people to avoid coastal areas, as the heavy winds and rain began to subside by evening. However, light showers continued into the night. The Hong Kong Observatory reported that Typhoon Waifa was moving westward toward Guangdong Province in mainland China, bringing with it more heavy rainfall and strong winds. No fatalities were reported in Hong Kong, but dozens of people were injured, mostly from falling debris and shattered glass. Emergency rooms remained on high alert throughout the day, and streets were littered with fallen branches and broken signage. Cleanup efforts resumed early on July 21st, and Hong Kong International Airport began preparing for over 230 flights scheduled for the following day. Initial estimates suggest that the damage to infrastructure amounts to millions of Hong Kong dollars. Analysts compared the impact of Typhoon Waifa to previous storms such as Typhoon Saola in 2023 and Typhoon Mangkhut in 2018. While the damage was less severe than previous storms, social media was flooded with images and videos of the destruction. The government has pledged financial support and swift recovery efforts. Damage assessments for buildings and power outages are underway. Meteorologists have warned of potential future storms as the typhoon season continues. Experts advise residents to prepare emergency supplies in anticipation of further storms. While the situation is gradually stabilizing, it will take several days to fully recover from the aftermath of Typhoon Waifa, which continues to move north toward Vietnam, with heavy rain still threatening southern China. The Hong Kong Observatory reported that the powerful winds of Typhoon Waifa are expected to come very close to Hong Kong, with the storm's center predicted to pass about 50 kilometers south of the city around midday. The adverse weather warning will continue throughout the day, with heavy showers, thunderstorms, and strong gusts of wind. The observatory mentioned that Waifa intensified from a severe tropical storm to a major typhoon just before midnight on July 19th. Frequent heavy rain and thunderstorms will occur across the region, accompanied by rough seas and large waves. The Hong Kong Observatory forecasted over 500 flights scheduled for the weekend in Hong Kong were canceled, while most public transport services were suspended, and many major events were postponed. The Hong Kong Weather Bureau warned that under the influence of Typhoon Wifa, flooding could occur in low-lying coastal areas on the morning of July 20th. In a related incident, a speedboat caught fire in the typhoon shelter at Causeway Bay, Hong Kong, on the morning of July 20th. The fire quickly spread to 2 nearby boats. The Marine Police and Fire Department acted swiftly, rescuing 3 men and 2 women. The incident occurred during the heavy rains and strong winds caused by Typhoon Wifa. On mainland China, the National Observatory of China issued a yellow warning for Typhoon Wifa on July 19th, predicting strong winds and heavy rain to affect the southern coastal regions of China, according to Xinhua News Agency. The yellow warning is based on a 4-level scale, with red being the most severe, followed by orange, yellow, and blue. According to the Hainan Meteorological Agency, Typhoon Wifa is expected to make landfall in Hainan between the afternoon and evening of July 20th. Due to the storm's impact, from July 19 to 22, much of the sea and land areas of Hainan are forecasted to experience heavy rainfall and strong winds. Additionally, the Qiongzhou Strait, which links Guangdong and Hainan provinces, may suspend sea transport operations from July 20th to 22.
Nature doesn't send us warnings, but we can. Floods, earthquakes, wildfires, and storms are striking harder and faster than ever before. By subscribing, you are not just watching, you are joining a movement to stay alert, stay informed, and helps others to do the same. Hit the subscribe now because the next disaster won't wait, and neither should you. Be ready and be aware.